Hello and welcome to the Our Metroidvania podcast. This is Cauldrath from the Our Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
Hi, this is Master. I'm also from there.
Hi, I'm Atcero, and I'm also from there, and the local Enwa.
Huh?
Local what?
Enwa from Morrowind. You
Sure.
Enwa, you swit. When they're
Okay.
ugh.
Uh,
Ugh.
this is Supraland, which is also first person, just like Morrowind.
Basically the same game.
Exactly. If it's first person, it has to be the same game, right?
Yeah.
Of course. I don't know if the audio's actually coming through it all. Oh, it's coming through headphones. No, that's not where you're supposed to be coming through sound. Oh, that's fine, I guess.
Start off this game just surrounded by people who peer pressure you into jumping down a pipe.
Oh, that's a nerd reference right there.
Mhm.
Well, thanks, old man. That is really very nice. I can always count on you on helping friendly advice.
Honestly, I'm really tired of that reference.
Whenever you hear fucking It's Dangerous to Go Alone, they just start singing Starbomb. Or just the reference in general.
just the reference.
That's fair. I every time I hear it now, I can't help but think of the Starbomb.
I don't know what that is.
Comedy gaming band with Aaron Hansen and oh fuck, what's his name? Danny Avedon.
I'll take your word for it.
Game Grumps.
I see.
So we're talking about first-person games and Metroidvanias, right?
Yep.
And the level design usually contained within.
Oh, that sword effect is a little bright.
Oh, yeah, that is. That hurts. That is bright. That's like Professor Q using light mode. Oh, just
And
like
it's
that.
also one of those things that's like, it doesn't quite swing as fast as you press the button, but it's close enough that you pretty much have to jam it the entire time.
Oh, is this how babies are made in this game?
What?
Well, they had the people cutouts.
Yeah.
Oh,
They have no necks.
Necks are overrated.
so Supraland. Cauldrath has played a bit more of it than I think either of us have.
Yeah, I've actually
So-
played about 6 hours of it.
So what is the level design like?
So the overall world design is pretty Zelda-ish. It's a piece of art.
It's 9 pieces of 8.
Ooh, secret. I guess it's kind of like, it has the like specifically marked secret areas though, kind of like Doom. But the areas are pretty linear. Well, some of them are, and then you have some things that are like dungeons where you do get an ability in the middle of it, pretty similar to Zelda, and then have to like use it throughout the rest of it.
You just die.
No.
Oh, cutscene.
Oh, I thought the stream died.
No.
No,
That
it's
was
just racism.
Very abrupt. So,
This game hurts my eyes a little bit.
It is very
Yeah.
bright. I do agree. So, 3D
Bright and white.
Metroidvanias. How many do we got? Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime is the big one.
Default. It's like the one everyone defaults to because it's like the main one that I've actually ever played. I don't think I've ever played any other 3D Metroidvania.
is that any
And-
better brightness-wise?
I just mean more of the game's design than the brightness of
Yeah,
your
it's a very
screen. I
bright
mean, unless
game
you
in general.
turn down the gamma or something. I don't know.
You.
It's fine.
Oh.
What? You don't like them pouring paint white paint all over the place.
Yeah, white paint. Let's go with that. Keep it PG.
But yeah, like other ones, there's also well, Vomitorium was one we were talking about playing.
I don't know if that was an actual Metroidvania though. It didn't sound like it was. It looked like a
It's-
good game.
I am told it's a Metroidvania. I haven't played it yet myself. It does have a lot of Doom trappings because it was made in GZ Doom. So like it does have marked secret areas, I believe. For example, but it is at least an exploration game with Metroidvania-ish upgrades. So even the Prime 1, people I guess would call it Metroidvania. Prime 2 and 3 are a little structured a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Prime 2 kind of has a hub and spoke world where you have the kind of hub world in the middle connecting to 3 different areas that you mostly visit in a particular order.
It's a
And then but then you
Crestlock.
also have the dark world version of all of those worlds, so you can consider those connections, the portals going between those worlds to add a bit of nuance to the way you traverse the level.
Damn, he just headbutted you. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why. This game reminds me of Borderlands a little bit. Do not know why. It just hit me. It shouldn't, but it does.
Maybe it's just because the
I had that
environment
toy
is
as a
bright.
kid. That's a Duplo. I had that.
What? Oh.
That's a Duplo
Oh,
block.
yeah.
I had that
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah, and then you have Metroid Prime 3, which, well, you could call it a Crest-like, maybe?
Does it have
Yeah.
a nice little hub?
It has
You-
multiple planets that you go to.
Oh, yeah, Crest-like.
Yeah, you have to travel between the planets in your ship. And they otherwise, you know, the planets, of course, aren't connected to each other. You don't really... I mean, okay, there are a few times where you backtrack to a previous planet, but there are also times where you just kind of clear an area and you're pretty much done with it, I guess. You do have to go back eventually for the power cells that are basically Metroid Prime 3's equivalent of the riddle hunt in Prime 1.
Mhm.
Don't actually remember what you get from doing that in Prime 3. Sure, it was important though.
Probably something you had to do to beat the game. It's been a long time since I played it.
I have never played it because it had to use the Wiimote, and I said, nope, fuck that. I want GameCube controller, not at
Yeah.
all.
I actually like those controls that Prime 3 and also the Prime Trilogy have on the Wii.
I like controller. Or I would prefer mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
But I tried that with Prime, and it was actually really weird.
Emulating the Trilogy version, so the one with the Wii controls,
Might be better.
with a mouse, I actually thought it was pretty interesting because it's almost the way you look around is kind of lazy, almost in the way you would look around with a controller, where you move your mouse towards the edge of the screen and then you start rotating in that direction.
Oh, well, you can
So-
shove that sensitivity up.
Yeah, but I just had it to where my mouse was on the screen corresponded where the Wii remote would be pointing. So then I would only have to move my mouse a little bit to the left in order to rotate around, I guess.
Hmm,
So it was kind of interesting.
yeah.
Because certain first-person games can be tiresome on a mouse if you're constantly doing 180s, jumping around. Yeah, Prime 3 also had the, so when the Prime Trilogy came out, they retroactively added the Wii controls to the first two games,
Hmm.
but they didn't really do anything else to it. I mean, they did some like remastering and balance changes or whatever, but they didn't add any Wiimote gimmicks to those games.
You're right, Max.
Whereas with, well, there, I mean, okay, there was like shaking the Wiimote, I think, to do a jump or something. There
Oh,
there
that's
might have
weird.
been something like that. Either way, not a big deal. But Prime 3 has these control panels everywhere that require you to like push the Wiimote and twist it and pull it back out
Twist
and
it!
do all these.
Pop it!
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a bit more annoying to emulate when I played through it on an emulator more recently.
Bruh, she just lulled you. Are you gonna take that?
I mean, this isn't Morrowind. I can't just murder her.
God damn it! What's the point then? That's stupid. That is. Oh. If you can't murder everyone around you, what's the point? You should have gotten a fire. Swing your sword, maybe it'll light it up.
I neglected to mention this, but my internet
Ooh.
has been funky the last couple of days, so if I disappear, that's why.
Okay, that's fair. You know, that's something with my internet that I'm surprised has never happened on stream yet. Because it likes to crash at least once on my own. But it's never crashed for a podcast, thank God. And hopefully it won't. Knock on wood. Also, stream quality took a fucking dip on your end, Cauldrath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is grainy. It was fine for a while, too. It'll probably pick back up.
It's fine.
It's fine.
The graininess makes it easier to look at.
You gotta get run speed.
Yeah. Need 3 more coins for that?
Yeah.
It seems like this is just a world full of random activities. So like
Yeah.
a collectathon, but maybe
Yeah,
puzzle activity oriented instead of touch the thing oriented.
yeah, that was my biggest problem with this game. Is it's just like a bunch of like it feels like work.
That's fair. So, other than Prime, what else do we have? I mean, we have Subnautica, which I do not consider Metroidvania. It has some elements, but it's not a true one.
It's at least a non-linear exploration game.
It's a survival game. That's what a survival game is a
I
non-linear
mean, you're right.
exploration game.
You're absolutely right.
People are
Not
like,
all of them gate you from areas though. Like Minecraft, you can walk wherever.
yep. Subnautica does gate. That's mainly for story-wise, though, I would say. Though I guess Metroidvanias you can also.
I mean, you need to at least acquire like a vehicle or air to explore deeper.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that games like The Forest require you to. Well, actually, I think The Forest does require certain tools to access certain areas.
Isn't the goal of the forest to, like, escape too, or is it just to survive? I've never played it.
You do want to. Well, you want to find
Your son,
your
I think,
daughter,
right?
maybe, or
Oh,
son.
son. Your
I don't
kid.
remember.
Your child.
They were in a you were in a plane crash, and
Yeah.
you see them getting hauled off by
The
cannibals.
Yep, the native cannibal tribe.
So why is it that people are more willing to consider Subnautica a Metroidvania than a lot of like other survival games?
I think because of that gating, people just automatically assume any kind of gating means Metroidvania. And it's like, doesn't fully gate you. It does, but it doesn't gate you, I feel, enough in a lot of ways. Like, you don't need the Snow Fox in Below Zero. You can get around without it. I almost never use the Snow Fox. Should I? Yes. But I die a lot, regardless. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the first time I played Subnautica Below Zero 4 times. Because I played it, like, each major update before it was even fully released, and then I beat it once. I beat the full version. And I think only the full version did I actually use the Snow Fox.
I don't know what that means, but it's fine.
Essentially, Subnautica devs like to do this thing where they release it in chunks.
Oh, I know what that means. I don't know
Oh.
what the Snow Fox is.
Snow Fox is a land vehicle.
Oh.
So it's a little hover bike.
Nice.
And I actually played Subnautica Below Zero before they overhauled the story and the map. I completely forgot that. I was one of, like, the beta people for it.
So you could say maybe the intentionality of Subnautica is a reason why people
Ouch.
are more likely to call it a Metroidvania.
Maybe?
This is a vague observation, but I've noticed that people this might sound like I'm offending people, and I don't mean to be. People who like to think that they only play the best games talk about Subnautica.
You know, I can see it.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily mean that in a negative
No, I get what you
way.
mean.
Also, yeah, people who... It's the same thing with Outer Wilds, where people who just talk a lot about that game, I feel, are... Just because of how good of a game it is, people are more likely to say that it's a Metroidvania because it
Wait, what?
has... Because it has certain intentionality in its design.
People call it an MV?
I've seen people call it
What?
an MV. It's like knowledge gating.
Knowledge, yeah.
No, knowledge gating is not ability gating. That is two completely different concepts. What?
It's kind of, so you have an exploration game,
You just
and then
skipped
people,
that.
I guess any game with exploration that has, for lack of a better word, intentionality, people get the same feelings from that they do from Metroidvanias. So that may be why it comes up in conversation.
And they're wrong.
I mean, it is one of, I think the exploration part of Metroidvanias is very important to it.
Yes. But however,
at
when
least-
a game doesn't when a game has exploration intentional with like just knowledge gating, let's say, that doesn't mean like automatically mean,
Yeah.
oh, that's the Metroidvania, and it's like, no, that's not how it works.
I
That's
get
how
where
it works.
people are coming from, you know?
I do as well, but at the same time, they need to be told no.
Yeah. And I appreciate where they're coming from more than I would appreciate where someone calling something with upgrades Metroidvania because it has upgrades even though it has nothing else in the game, because,
you mean,
you know...
Elder Scrolls? The best Metroidvania ever to make?
Yeah.
Force Cube. Oh, you
Any
skipped that.
AAA
Okay.
open world game with upgrades.
What?
You skipped. I saw you
I
skip the
can't-
double jump or get the
Yeah.
Force Cube.
Do you see how much money I have?
Well, get rich, bitch.
What he's doing?
Yeah, but I just wanted to say the rhyme because it was fun.
So you're just doing activities to grind for money in this game?
And he's not getting enough
Yeah.
money, even though he's trying to grind. Oh, there's
not
some money.
too much you can really grind. That's on top of the thing, though.
Oh,
And I need
get
the
the
Force
double jump.
Cube or
oh.
the.
If you come at this game from the perspective of collectathons like Spyro, I could see how it's an enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Spyro is. I'm not saying this game is bad, but Spyro is, in my opinion, on another level for collectathon. That one is just dummy fun to collect, and I hate collectathons. But I've fucking 100%ed all 3 Spyro games. I
Wow.
platinumed that shit. I should redo that, actually. Spyro's just... I don't know why. Spyro's just a game I can replay. Probably because nostalgia.
I'm like halfway through Spyro 2 in the remastered
Oh god, Spyro.
trilogy. I haven't played it in months. I'll randomly boot it up and go through like 4 levels, and then
Yeah.
I won't touch it. Same thing with the Crash
I can't play
Bandicoot
Crash.
trilogy.
Crash is hard for me, which is weird, because I grew up with Crash, too. We had... I think all 3 Crashes and all 3 Spyros, and I just can't get back into Crash, which sucks. Because I loved the games as a kid.
It's not the best. We have much better in terms of platformers.
Yeah, but
nowadays.
there's a certain charm with Crash. I fucking love Cortex. I relate to him on a spiritual level for obvious reasons.
Combat in this game does not look fun.
Yeah, it isn't. At least not with the. So I don't have any sword upgrades yet. There's a couple over here.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
This
meant to
one's
feel annoying.
+3, and then this one's +1, which I could buy now, but then
I
I'm
would
even
wait,
further.
yeah.
And I guess there's also some money in town I can look for.
Yeah.
Is the coins max coins or coins in the area or what?
There's a certain amount of coins in the area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's just I can see.
Oh,
the-
you got the fairy orb.
Hey, I like when games have random upgrades like that aren't actually necessary but provide information.
But right now I just want coins.
Master,
Yeah.
what upgrades specifically would you like? And please write them down for future reference.
For 3D games?
No, in general for ability upgrades for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, there we go.
I
Oh,
want
you need one!
Why would
Wait.
you do this?
Well, it
Let me
just
see if
gave
I
you
can get an
10.
evil laugh
Did you
going.
expect it to give you 11?
What was that? It
It
gave
just
me
gave
10.
you 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gave me
Did
10.
it he said, did you expect it to give you 11?
It would have been
That'd be
nice if it
awful.
gave me 11.
There's an evil laugh for now. I'm gonna drink my bromine.
Yeah, so
Oh,
one of the things with 3D Metroidvanias is, well, a large part of Metroidvanias is typically upgrading your movement abilities,
Mhm.
and I guess it's harder to do that in a
First
3D
person?
game,
Well,
first-person game, yeah.
not in 3D. 3D is fine. It's the first person. 'Cause
First
it's
person.
hard to... Like, if you have a dash, okay, you're in 3D. Where the fuck can you go with that dash in first person without it essentially janking up your screen? Like, that's so hard to convey. Sadly, and that's why I don't think I've seen any first-person game that has a dash, actually. Oh, wait, no, sorry, Skyrim.
There's several games that have
Skyrim.
dashes.
But Skyrim's, like, only air dash.
I mean, Doom Eternal has a dash.
Oh, it does,
Ultra
that's
Kill
right.
has a dash.
and
I'm sure
Doom's
other
very
boomer shooters have
movement-based.
dashes.
Doom has very sexy movement, I've seen.
Ultra Kill also has very cool sliding, where you accelerate kind of while you're sliding. It's weird.
Is it kind of like a downhill? Did you ever play Borderlands?
At some point.
The downhill slide. When you can slide down hills and it'll be like you accelerate a little bit with
Maybe.
it.
It's
Oh,
not.
that's how you do that puzzle.
It's not.
Steaming all over it. I mean, the
I said keep it PG, Cauldrath, but you made the joke. God damn it! You came all over the fucking crystal.
You
I
can
did.
you,
The
you can
Switch-
just slide on like a horizontal surface, and I'm actually not sure how much it speeds you up, if it speeds you up, but you at least keep your movement. It's
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
pretty fast.
So you don't accelerate. You just stay at the same velocity. You don't
Well,
lose velocity.
I think it increases your movement up to a certain speed.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. We need more like that. More 3D movement games and make them more
Hey,
Metroidvania.
hey, if you play boomer shooters, some
Oh,
of those have some movement options.
I only play the Castlevania boomer. Castlevania.
And it is interesting So you have gameplay focused, basically, almost subgenre of shooters. And those are the ones that have all of these
Like movement and
movements.
shit, yeah. And usually
Yeah.
get classified as Metroidvanias, because I mean, look at how many for Metroidvania tagged usually when we go to do
Eh.
the trailers, and all the 3D ones are boomer shooters for the most part. I'm
I
not
suppose
saying they
so, though
should
those
be.
aren't necessarily, yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting to me. Because you wouldn't think necessarily that those would overlap. Because one genre is more about the combat encounters and level design than it is the exploration. Like if I'm thinking of first-person exploration game, I'm not thinking of boomer shooters.
No, but that seems to overlap a lot.
It does.
Yeah. When I think first-person exploration, I usually actually go immediately to survival. Like, because that's most of my games, or not even just survival, but Elder Scrolls. I mean, that's... I think of Subnautica and Elder Scrolls.
If I'm thinking of shooters, I think more of... Like,
Call of
I think
Duty.
of Metro.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
I have a
Metro's
friend playing
mostly
Metro.
linear-ish. But it is... You could call it an exploration game. And from what I understand, the third game has large, non-linear
Which one is that one?
sections. Metro Exodus, the
Yeah,
third
that's
game.
the one my friend is playing. I've heard things about it.
Yeah, and of course I do think of the survival game genre.
I just like slashing things in person.
Mhm.
But I also miss my magic. I just want Elder Scrolls 6. That's all I want. That's all I want.
I thought you wanted Castlevania.
I have resigned
we're
myself to
just-
that we're
yeah.
never getting another Castlevania ever. Unless
Well, we
Konami
just
pulls
got-
their head out of their ass.
How long ago was Grimoire of Souls?
I still haven't beaten it. I had to give the iPad back because the grind got too much.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. I hit the grind ceiling, and I'm like, I don't want to do this for 5 minutes. It would be every day for a long ass time, and it's just too much. So I watched the ending.
how was it?
Did you get the lore you wanted?
The lore's okay. It's alright. I just don't like, they made them, Lucy a Mary Sue, so it's like, eh. It just seems like a self-insert OC, sadly.
Sad.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. You literally have Lucy Westerna, which is based off of, obviously Lucy from the book. The first woman who got turned by Dracula in the novel. And then you have Seward, the director, who is based off of John Seward, the doctor. So I do like the references to the book. I do enjoy that.
Fast travel.
Woo.
Like,
I am a
there's
fan
basically
of...
2 rooms in this game, and they already have fast travel.
I am a fan of fast travel that is implemented into the game in that sort of way, and not just a
Just teleport
teleport.
everywhere.
Instead of teleporting me, just have me move very quickly between these two places.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't
Just have an animation.
always
There's
work
no
for,
difference.
2D animation, though, sadly.
No, you kind of do that.
Or 2D games.
Like- Like when you have like the Crystal Dash in Hollow Knight, you can quickly go between different places.
I mean, you also ride around a stag beetle.
Oh,
in
that's
Hollow
true.
Knight. And
But
it's just a
that's-
teleport with an animation, but it's still
Yeah.
better than a teleport.
Well, most games have teleport with an animation. Personally, I don't like waiting for an animation. I don't like the bug. I don't like the bug. If I want to fast travel, I want to be... No, you missed a coin! Turn around! You missed a coin!
Oh,
2 coins!
2 coins! They
Ah!
got lodged in the ground.
Thank
Uh-huh.
goodness.
It's so important.
I like it where if I have fast travel, I don't want a screen. I want it to be literally fast. I want it to be immediate. That's why I always kind of like Castlevania. It's not 100%. It's still got a bit of animation, but it's faster than most games.
I mean, okay, I'd be fine with it being instant. I want games to at least try to implement it into the world
Oh
in a
yeah.
way that isn't a teleporter, because teleporters are pretty boring.
Well, go check a certain chat quick. I just sent something.
Oh, yeah, that'd work.
Yeah. I do like this western.
Yeah.
Hey, double jump.
Yeah, I've had the game muted the whole time because I don't want to listen to it.
I
If
don't
it has
mind
good
it.
music, maybe I should. So used to listening to the, or not having audio for the streams. Because I'm usually watching it on Twitch on a delay instead of
Yeah.
like on a Discord.
I could
Shared video.
stream. I could attempt to stream mine. Like I said, I don't know if my computer is gonna take a shit, or not even my computer, my internet. My computer will be fine. It's a little beef boy. Wait, did you get light? Oh, you missed a
if
coin.
hold
Get
down-
back there.
Coins.
Get back there.
See, I was on top of that coin. It should have picked it up.
You were not.
That's...
Yeah, you not. That was far away, my guy. I'm sorry. Oh, so you're just holding summoning the cube essentially, and it does light?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
that's funky. And fucky.
One of the things they wanted to do with Supraland was having the abilities have at least X many different uses for maybe.
Oh, that's right.
Might have been 6.
And even if some of them are kind of just lame, like one-time use,
Oh, we already
It's
figured out
still-
this puzzle.
interesting.
Well, I figured out that I could like get myself out by
To be
like,
fair, I said swing your
pushing buttons,
sword.
right? Yeah. The swinging the sword didn't do anything.
Oh, it's when you hit the wall. Little papyruses coming at you.
Yeah.
Something else with doing 3D Metroidvanias. This is just kind of a personal theory. I think that people shy away from having a game focused on getting upgrades because so many 3D AAA games are
Kinda do
like
that
just
already.
have upgrade systems in them, or you know, like open world games have collectibles and that kind of thing.
A beautiful
and-
basic artifact.
Doing a Metroidvania and having those elements could come off as being like an open world collecting element, and people
Yeah.
don't want that.
Well, and personally, depending on what kind of collecting it is, like if it's collecting upgrade, well, I don't even consider upgrades collections, if I'm gonna be honest. I don't see that as something that is like, oh, I have to go collect it. It's not more like, oh, I need this to progress. I need this if I want to get further in the game. And I don't
Well,
personally mind that. Also, can you use the cube to launch yourself to get up there faster? Or farther?
I can do that, but then I can't double jump after I use the cube.
Oh,
but I
lame.
think it might launch me a little bit higher, so maybe.
I'm thinking more of like very minor upgrades that you'd be going around to collect, like missile expansions.
Oh, yeah, that does become a
Like
throw 'cause
having
I don't
those
do
in a
that.
3D environment would probably feel a lot like just having collectibles,
Well,
and
and they
I
kind
mean
of did in
collectibles
Metroid.
aren't bad. It's just it's something people are very familiar with.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily want.
I mean, I think it also depends on how it's implemented. Like,
It does.
uh,
Also how they're hidden.
yeah,
or
like this
whatever.
isn't a collectible, but Super Mario Odyssey. I remember, I never played it, but I remember watching it, and that game just rewarded exploration up the ass. If you did a fancy-ass trick and you got to a part of the map you didn't think the devs cared about, they rewarded you. And I think that's, in some regards, I feel kind of missing from some games, 3D games. Skyrim does it somewhat. They do Easter eggs in really weird places. Or, you know, their game is just bugged to fuck anyways, so I mean, you're gonna be breaking the game regardless. But getting to weird random places that you didn't think, like, you think you would outsmart the devs almost, kind of, doing it. And I feel like that they should reward you more for that in 3D games, and I don't feel like they do that much. Like, it's okay to put an object in a place you don't think the people can get to. Because gamers will find a way. They will get there if they want to.
Well, if it is in a place you don't think they should be able to reach, and you shouldn't have that
No,
be
not
part of the
should, just
progression.
won't.
Well, sure, but what if, you know, people are stuck at like 99% progression and they have to do these ridiculous
Oh,
tricks to
I
get
don't think it should be
somewhere.
counted towards or against anything. I'm more of like, not for collectathons, like, oh, you got here, here's some more money. Here's a super secret upgrade that doesn't really matter, it's just like cosmetic or some shit. Stuff like that. Things that don't matter but still reward the player. Or you
Super
just make them
secret
broken
cosmetic.
fuck.
That's a good idea.
Huh?
Because a lot of people just don't care about cosmetics when they're showered in cosmetics.
I love cosmetics so much.
Or, I
Yeah,
know...
like Jedi Fallen Order, like almost everything you found was a cosmetic, and it was usually really disappointing.
Borderlands be
bring up.
like... So I had some sick ass looking gear in Borderlands. Tiny Tina's at the end.
Missing so many coins. Stop fighting the skeleton.
Cauldrath, I don't know, man. I don't know if getting coins is your thing.
You like collecting an excessive amount of one item in any game you play.
I'm not sure that's true.
It's true the last time you streamed.
Oh yeah, you got all the shrooms. You were getting high as fuck, man.
Oh,
We had to drive you home after that cast. It was terrible.
I was already home.
Shrooms were littered all over Master's car, man. It was terrible. Master, do you even own a car?
No.
That makes it even fucking better.
He stole my car to drive me home from my own house.
From my own house! I don't think you can get over there yet. I know you want to break the game, but I don't think you can.
I almost made it.
You did almost make it.
You did.
You might be able to do it.
No, don't, no. Don't do that.
Another thing to consider with 3D games is just how you design the levels. It's a lot...
Yep.
It can be a lot different. I think Metroid Prime is kind of a good example of a game that is kind of a series of hallways in the same way that
Oh, Cubit.
2D game would be. But a lot of other 3D games are designed with like open spaces in mind. So they end up feeling a lot different when you're going through them.
I would say that depends on the kind of feel. Like, Marvel Spider-Man, or even Spider-Man 2. It was designed with you being able to move and swing around. That was its design.
Nice.
Nice. So it had a lot of buildings, obviously, because it's in New York, and a lot of places where you could swing off of and do all this shit. It was designed with mobility for Spider-Man in mind. While Skyrim, let's just get a good old Skyrim example, was designed for exploration, but not very, I would say intensive exploration? Because, I mean, you got your markers, you got your map, you can go anywhere, and if you find it, you find it, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. If you have like large open spaces, you can make those. You can do, I think, a lot with getting movement upgrades and then being able to more effectively traverse them.
Mm-hmm.
Like walking around the city versus slinging around the city as
Yeah.
Spider-Man, you know, that makes a huge difference in traversal, whereas if you have kind of just a series of connected linear corridors in a 3D game, there's less potential for that.
Well, imagine using fast travel. Like, I think I used fast travel only once in Spider-Man. Because how they designed the world and how they designed the movement was so fucking nice. And I grew up with Spider-Man 2, so I'm very biased. It felt amazing. It literally...
Pizza time.
Huh?
Pizza time.
It's pizza. I fucking hated those missions, dude. You would jump and you would hear the splatter and you're like, oh no! Those are the worst missions in that game. I hated them. I still have nightmares. But it's pizza time. God. Movement. So, like, literally, Marvel Spider-Man is how I felt the game was when I was a kid. And then you go back and play Spider-Man 2 and you're like, God, this was trash. So good. So smooth. More
The
games
new
need movement
Spider-Man
like that.
are pretty good, right?
Huh?
But the new Spider-Man are pretty good.
Oh, Marvel Spider-Man, I loved it. But again, I'm biased. When you grow up with the game, and then they take it and essentially make it 20 times better.
Everyone's a little biased.
I'm very biased towards Spider-Man games. I beat Spider-Man 2 like 3 times.
Did you just parry that, man?
Parry this,
Maybe.
you filthy casual.
Looked
Oh.
like you stopped his sword swing. and
Here's
made a little
another...
shick-
Here's... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was saying nothing of value, don't worry.
Master, everything you say has value. Don't devalue yourself like that.
The more I say, the more I devalue my own words.
Ah,
You gotta
yes,
keep it rare.
the true
Uh-huh.
Gen Z mentality, along with millennials. Hey, you found a barrel.
Oh.
I was gonna say another game. Rest in peace, Anthem. That game had stellar movement and mobility. It just felt good to play. Where wasn't so. Oh, you gotta.
Did you also
cube it.
want to consider how to construct 3D environments that require the chaining of several different abilities in order to effectively traverse? Because it seems like a lot of the examples are just here's the one ability you have that lets you do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to do that when your space is more restricted in a 2D game.
Yeah,
I
like
suppose.
Sunset Overdrive, I believe, made a lot of good use of it. I didn't play it, but I watched people play it. One of my friends. And how they utilized their space and movement seemed really good as well. Like Spider-Man. They knew what they had, and they knew what limitations they had. And to work with the movement for that game specifically, they tailored it to. Which I think a lot of games just don't do if it's a 3D game. Or an open world. Which is sad. You should.
Something else that you don't really see is games with 6 degrees of freedom in their movement or level design. A lot of 3D games, you don't really move vertically.
Anthem did.
Is that part of the level design, or do you just fly above the level and then descend to the level?
No, depending on where it was, you had to go up, like, you had to use verticality in your fights. I played the class, which was essentially the mage, the Storm. The Storm's thing was they had terrible defense unless they were flying. If they were flying, they had they had insane defense, because their shield would be active. So every fight I was in, I had to be flying, and I had to use my height to position myself in that Z-axis. And I always found that interesting, because not a lot of games require you to think that way.
Yeah. Though you're not exploring on the Z-axis.
You had
You're
to with some
just-
levels, yeah. When you were going through one of those, like, old shrines. But, EA fucked BioWare over. Their game was gonna be so much bigger and so much more intense. Then it just turned to trash, because EA sucks.
Remember when they announced a revamp? You made it. They announced a
2.0?
revamp and then they canceled it.
Because the director left. The director left BioWare.
It's awful.
It's terrible. I was so hyped. You have
Hate
no
to
idea
say
how
it.
happy I was for it. I don't get hyped for many things. I was fucking stoked for that shit. And then they fucked it, and I'm like, oh, EA, why do you gotta be cunts like this? I just want my good game. Why are you being Konami? Everything I love dies.
So there is a fairly obscure niche of fixed degree of freedom shooters, which is basically the game Descent, like 2 other games. If you've ever heard of Descent. And I think there's a lot of potential that no one has tried with making a map that is like 3-dimensional. Like imagining like a cube and then you just fill the cube with spaghetti and that's your map.
Wait, what? What?
Like every axis kind of has there is no orientation to the map.
So you got
There's
a
no ground,
rotating
so
cube of spaghetti.
sure.
That sounds non-Euclidean as fuck.
It's what do you mean? It's literally just a cube. It's just a 3-dimensional object, and then you imagine putting a 2D map and like expanding it to fill the space of a 3-dimensional object.
Like, kind of like a Daggerfall Dungeons?
I don't know. I haven't played Daggerfall. A world with 0 gravity. So instead of just making left or right hand turns, you can also make turns into the ceiling or into the floor.
That was kind of like Anthem when you were flying.
Okay.
I think when you spun, it didn't actually rotate the camera though. Like when you did the, I guess
Oh,
it's
the
not
barrel
barrel
roll?
roll.
The aileron
Not-
roll? Yeah.
Yeah, but not actually a barrel roll because
Yeah, the
that's not what
aileron
barrel roll
roll.
is.
You also weren't exploring an environment where you could just go into the ceiling and then there's like another room there.
No, there was at times depending on the ruins.
My gosh.
I know. Good. Oh, you died.
Yep.
Bonfire relit.
Doesn't seem like there's any sort of death penalty.
Oh.
I
Oh,
don't-
Quality took a shitter again.
Interesting. I also apparently I heard nothing for like 10 seconds.
Oh.
And it's weird that his video quality would suffer at the same time that my Discord quality would suffer. Is our Discord dying? Is it on
No,
my
it's
internet?
it's on his end if you see the same thing, sadly.
Um,
The nature of being on a call and streaming. It'll come back. It always does.
maybe I should lower my settings.
No, it's fine.
No, it came back. I think it just refreshes and it just takes a minute.
Right, so anyways, you don't really see level design done in that way, and I think it can make for a
No.
really interesting way to explore, even if it's incredibly confusing. Which it most certainly will be.
Yep. Well, as long as you have a map that you can rotate as well, I think you'd be fine. I mean, essentially, I feel like you're just describing the water temple to a degree in Zelda. Ocarina of Time.
Let me look up this map.
Wait, you've never played Ocarina?
What? I have, but I don't remember the map
okay.
off the top of my
Okay.
head. Gosh.
No, I was just gonna
What?
say, like, the infamous water temple. Okay. Now that's
I
fair if you
memorized
don't
the map,
remember.
you're sorry.
Oh, the puzzles were too hard for him there, so he quit.
Aww. What, Master?
I don't know, what did I say?
I have no idea, my guy. That's why I was asking you.
See, I'm looking at the map now. It seems... I mean...
It's not very confusing. It got confusing when you added the water element into it.
Isn't it mostly...
You change the levels of the water.
Where does that change the levels in every single room?
Some
just
rooms
like
it
the
does,
hub,
or some
middle
rooms
area?
it does not. It depends. It's just considered infamous for being confusing, even though I consider the Twilight Princess one actually to be worse.
Right. I mean,
Or
even
better.
then,
No, worse.
gravity is always down. The map
That's true.
has an orientation. And even the main puzzle of lowering or raising the water level, that is an orientation.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking in terms of a box, and you can go technically every which direction. Didn't Outer Wilds have some No, every single planet had gravity. You are... Cauldrath,
Yeah,
is
you got
this
this.
a Bethesda game? Is this...
Apparently.
Are you... Cauldrath,
Oh, don't go too far right, you'll fall.
can you jump right now?
Apparently I just slid off. Okay, so it does not want me to go that way.
Wonder why. It's almost like you're probably not supposed to go that way yet. Jeez.
Game telling me what I can and can't do. How dare they?
So what movement upgrades do you want to see in a 3D Metroidvania?
Grapple hook. I'm a simple boy.
Well,
Grapple hooks are fun.
Metroid Prime had a grapple hook.
It did. Its grapple hook, I don't know. It was a little lame. I mean, a grapple hook that you can only use on specific points is a little lame compared to what it could be. And what it could be is Environmental Station Alpha. I mean, I think a grapple hook that you could just use anywhere, I don't think it'd be terribly hard to make, and it'd probably be fun, and it probably wouldn't break anything as long as you didn't give the character a ton of height from it.
Crap. Fucking love grapple hook. Anything with the, like, slinging motion, like Spider-Man, or just grapple hook. Even in Minecraft, some of the mods that do grapple hooks, fucking so fun. I love zooming across maps.
Is web swing basically just a grapple hook?
Yep. I mean, I would consider it to be yes.
When we think of grapple hook, though, there are several different kind of interpretations of that, just with how they're implemented in different games. Some of them will just leverage physics.
Oh, there's quality dump. Discord, I don't know why you do this. You're doing so well.
Yeah. The stream did die again. Did you catch the last two sentences that I said about grapple hooks?
I heard them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your internet does not like you.
Apparently.
So I don't think it likes you either, Cauldrath, right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
What region is this channel set to, I wonder?
Shouldn't it be east? I thought it was east. Should be east. Nice.
It's on
I don't think it
automatic.
actually hurt him.
No, it looked like it did 22 damage. I thought it
Oh.
did. How about different kind of combat in 3D? I mean, usually you have two options. You have melee and ranged. But usually
I
that
feel-
ranged is gun, arrow, or magic, and then you got swords.
Yeah, I
Or
feel
your
like
hand.
the melee doesn't work as well in 3D games.
I would say it depends.
It's harder to judge distance in a 3D game when you're swinging something in front of you.
I feel like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls in general usually did fine. Kingsfield 4 is fucking jank for judging.
I mean, it's fine, but you still can't be super precise, really, with your distance when you melee something. Not as
Oh.
much as you can be. You can
I can be.
on the right pixel you want in a 2D game.
Oh, that's true. But I think that depends because I'm pretty accurate with my sword. Giga.
I mean, sure, you're accurate, but that doesn't mean you're being precise.
You don't gotta be precise when you're hacking and slashing. Unlike Kingsfield, Kingsfield requires you to be precise. Let me tell you, that shit is terrible. Cauldrath's been watching. He knows how trash it is. It's janky AF.
It is like I do think that just like games don't do melee well in first person.
Yeah.
Like they usually don't have nearly as much range as they should to like make it good combat.
Yeah.
And then you just like wind up like swinging wildly.
There's also the fact that you're often pushed away from enemies because of hitboxes when you know, if you have a short-ranged weapon and you can only be so close to an enemy, that's a problem because you can't really lunge forward into their hitbox.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, having a game that focuses more on actual swordplay.
I mean, you have the chivalry games, you have, yeah, you have those.
Chivalry.
You
Dead.
could count Mountain Blade games. You got Mordhau.
Isn't Mountain Blade a multiplayer?
I don't know. Is it Mountain Blades? Like squad building RPG
Oh, it is
kind of
that one.
game?
I have, yeah, one of my friends used to play. What is this great game? And I'm like,
Chivalry is a
that one's the
medieval
multiplayer one, isn't it?
movie, yeah. And Mordhau is also Chivalry is kind of like, I don't know. It's
It seems memey in some regards.
no, Mordhau's the Mimi one.
Really?
Chivalry kind of is not.
Can you put another
Super-
block below you?
Oh, there was another
Chivalry
space.
will have like set pieces and stuff. And then Mordhau just has voice lines.
Can't you also
And
be
it's,
just like be the drummer during battle?
Well, there's a loot.
Ah, now we're talking.
You can, of course, people will mod and play songs on the loot. And of course, you can whack people with your loot as well.
As you should be able to.
Not to sound like I am trying to shill Mordhau. The medieval fighting games are in a weird state right now.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna talk more about Mordhaus because you said you were trying not to shill it, but it didn't sound like you shilled it at all. I
Oh.
thought you were gonna talk more about it.
He successfully tried not to show
mean-
it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I don't have much to say about it. Both Chivalry and Mordhau rely on basically abusing animations in order to fight. And like, you know, like, I mean, you could say that's the same thing that fighting games do.
Yeah.
Or tricking people into thinking you're doing certain animations when you're doing others. It's just really annoying when you're trying to play reasonably and then some dude comes along and he just starts like doing 360s
Okay, that's
and
kind of
then
funny though.
the sword just kind of like moves into you slightly and you die.
I
Sounds like
mean,
you get good.
yeah, get good, first of all. Second of all, I could
mean-
even be mad.
Well, one problem is certain weapons like imagine wielding a two-handed like kind of large axe weapon and imagine how your weapon moves when you just aim straight down. You kind of hold the weapon out in front of
Mhm.
you. So one of the things, just as an example, people can do is they will look down and you can't really tell the difference between them looking down and them starting an overhead attack because the animation kind of starts in the same movement.
Okay.
So there's just really annoying to read attacks that you have to deal with. And then there's two Chivalry games. The old Chivalry game was pretty famous for being 10 times worse than Mordhau. So much older game where people are just doing like, it looks like they've turned up their sensitivity and their mouse all the way, and they're just spinning around in circles. And then their sword just like touches you, because in the first Chivalry game, hope this is right, your sword hitbox is active as soon as you start your attack.
Okay.
Then you can still just aim around anywhere you want. So you start an attack and then you like rotate so that where you're holding your sword as you're starting the attack is now inside of them.
Sounds so fucking shit.
Or people doing like overhead attacks that start behind you and then quickly spinning around so that they just hit you with their sword behind them.
Why womo? Yuninderu.
Oh yeah, melee combat's kind of weird. Maybe VR games will do a better job with it. Also, you can better judge distances in VR, I guess.
VR also gives me a headache. I know how to.
You got games like that one with combat. Whose name I don't know. Blade and Sorcery, I think it is.
Yeah, that's.
I'm
the
sure
one.
there's lots of random combat games on VR by now.
Born.
You can find.
No, Cauldrath! You must go below! Yeah.
Puzzle.
Puzzle.
The thing with a lot of puzzles that are activities, this is a tangent. The process of figuring them out is just seeing what you can interact with and then interacting with it. And if it's wrong, just like interact with it the other way.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not a puzzle. Then so basically I'm saying puzzles need to be something that flailing about in will not solve.
No. Every puzzle should be able to be brute forced. Just how much brute force is required depends on the puzzle.
I mean, you can brute force anything eventually.
Exactly.
We'll just take until the end of the universe.
Love brute.
Are puzzles any different in 3D games than they are in 2D games?
In 2D games, you can almost always just like see where the puzzle pieces are.
Yeah.
In 3D ones, it's like, where is this now?
So 3D games would rely more on kind of obscure hiding information.
Mm-hmm.
So I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider recently. So one example I can give relating to that game, a lot of the puzzles are just interacting with the stuff, but sometimes it's hard to see the thing. Like you'll have to shoot rope arrows at sections of rope, but you have to look around the room to find the sections of rope that are relevant to the puzzle, I guess. And that's, I mean, you could say that hiding information from the player is bad, but also the game's not really hiding information. But it's also not an activity, so I'm just thinking about how to describe kind of that process of just looking around the room for the puzzle pieces. I didn't particularly hate it, I guess. Something that Shadow does that the other two remakes don't is that it has separate difficulties for combat exploration and puzzles. So, you can turn off the highlighting of crucial elements when you do your survivor sense, which in the other games, whenever you used it, it would just highlight anything you can parkour onto or anything you can interact with, really.
Parkour.
So it's kind of cheating for if you consider looking around for things to be part of the game.
Cauldrath, the amount of money is pretty nice looking right now.
Uh-huh.
Nice. What do you mean, oh geez? It's obligatory. You got to. If you notice it, you gotta say it. Them's the rules.
Have you seen the thing about like somebody making fun of the Pavlov's dogs, where like they'll salivate as soon as they hear the bell ring, and then they immediately are like, "Oh, 69, nice."
Nice. Yeah, no, I would say I'm definitely conditioned to whenever I see a 69, you have to say nice. Same with 420. If you see 420, you gotta say blaze it.
It's social etiquette. Well, yeah.
Nah, that's conditioning. Social etiquette is just another form of etiquette of conditioning that makes it sound nice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to say 69 if somebody says nice.
No, it only works one
Okay.
way.
Okay.
Like, you don't start salivating and then get a cookie. You gotta get a cookie and then start salivating. Or the bell, I should say.
Yeah, there's a difference there.
Sorry, they used cookies on the human version of the experiment.
Hey.
And yes, they did do a human version of the experiment.
Well, I thought the quote-unquote puzzles were fine, I guess, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I really did not like that game.
Oh, and did she not have her triangle tits?
She does not.
Okay, yeah, 0-10.
It's really strange. The game took either a step forward or a step back with like every aspect of it. And I found out later it was pretty obvious when I was playing, but finally looked it up and realized, oh yeah, this was made by a different studio than the one who made the previous two games. And they were just there for consulting.
That's
The
lame.
biggest small thing that really bothered me, and I promise I'll stop talking about Tomb Raider after this if you want. So in the Tomb Raider, the first two remakes, you find collectibles and you know it'll be some artifact or whatever, and then you can rotate it around very frequently, find additional information about it. So in the first game, it's a lot of like, oh, you pick up something and you rotate it to look at the bottom and like you see a scuff mark or you see a signature or you look inside of an object and like that's the additional contextual information that you have about this object. But then this third game, they just have you randomly rotate the object to some arbitrary position and then you just say something that has nothing to do with the object you're looking at or like what you just rotated it to. So it'd be like a picture of your mom, and then you have to rotate it to just some completely random orientation, and then you're like, man, I miss my mom, as the additional information. It just doesn't make any sense. It's the worst thing, because they actually made collectibles interesting in the first two Tomb Raider remakes with the contextual information. It had a lot of bloat as well. There's some repeated artifacts, and most of them you couldn't even rotate. It's not like you had to do it every time you picked one up. But whenever it did happen, it just felt like an afterthought. You also can't pause your character narrating whatever they're reading, which is a really nice feature in the previous game because sometimes I just want to read through something and not have to ignore
Did you just get a
Lara
portal
speaking.
gun?
No, I just got a gun.
Oh. But I missed the sword.
Still have the sword.
Oh.
You can just switch.
Cats, no! Little shits, hey! Hey! The kitten is attacking
I think
my
they have
backpack.
spears in this game.
Here, I'll be right back. I gotta spray a bitch.
Armor. Whoa. Congratulations.
This no longer hurt me.
I think there are people who called the first Tomb Raider a Metroidvania because you do acquire new equipment throughout the game that lets you access areas you previously couldn't. Some of which lead to new paths and some of which contain collectibles behind them. It's not one, but You know, people say that.
What is?
It opens up at the first of the latest Tomb Raider remakes.
Say that again.
The first of the Tomb Raider remakes, or second of the Tomb Raider remakes. The first of the latest trilogy.
What were you saying about it exactly?
I was asking.
Oh.
But it does open up a lot more as like you get further in the game, so it becomes a bit more Metroidvania-like than the game starts out as.
It's still a very linear game that just happens to take you through a previous area once or twice. But you can go anywhere eventually. And I mean, you do acquire sort of abilities. You get the rope arrows. You get the shotgun, which destroys certain types of barriers for whatever reason. So it is pretty much, it is just key gating. Though you could say using ropes to cross expanses is at least an interesting gate, even if it is entirely contextual. And you know, contextual gates aren't a bad thing. Just if your game only has them, it is a little bit less. You just died.
Yeah. That thing literally just one-shot me.
It had 200 health.
Yeah.
Look at how quickly you can kill those skeletons now. Progress.
Yep.
Why, cats? Why? I just sprayed you with water. Do I have to do it again? Really gonna fuck around and find out? Oh, Rolly Boys. Cats! Alright. What other things? Oh. Did we talk much about level design in general? I know we talked about it kind of in specific cases.
Not really in general.
Yeah.
You can do a few different types of level design in first person. Like, this is more of a, like... It's semi-open, where it's got, like, kind of a big room, and then that's pretty open within that room. But then, like, you're blocked from progress to the next thing.
I mean, we did talk a bit about different kinds of 3D level design. And ones that we never see that we really should see more of. I mean, when you're translating like a 2D game to a 3D game, I think of Metroid Prime in terms of
Yeah.
kind of feeling similar-ish.
Well, this isn't a Metroidvania, but Zelda too. Zelda did it fucking phenomenally.
Well, I mean, does it have, would you say it has significantly different style going from 2D to 3D?
Honestly, no. When I
Not
play a
for-
2D Zelda, it feels like playing 3D Zelda and vice versa. They feel like the same genre for me. I know they're
I feel-
technically not. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I feel similarly, but there's a lot of people that like 3D Zeldas but not 2D Zeldas, or vice versa.
And see, that's always weird to me, because it's like, but it's the same
It's
thing.
weird to me too, because I agree they are kind of the same thing.
Like, it's not. They're a lot more similar than like 3D Mario and versus 2D Mario and
Yeah.
Metroid.
Right, I was thinking about that actually to bring up next, talking about 3D platforming games. Has movement and it's radically different from the 2D games. You could say that they're similar in that they have certain philosophies to their design that could be in common, but they're they're different in gameplay. And 3D Mario games do a good job at having kind of layered movement. Like in Mario 64, having your kind of different jumps you can combo and your backflips, your long jumps.
Yeah.
It allows you to traverse the map in different or more efficient ways. Though a lot of those don't really add anything radically different. It's another way to get from A to B, but it's not changing the way that you do it. You could still get there just with your regular jumps. And I guess you could construct scenarios where you need to utilize these mechanics in order to get somewhere, but that would just be something like, oh, here's a higher jump that you can only reach using this move, or here's a certain set of walls you have to jump off of. And that's not really, that wouldn't really feel much different. It's just the like spacing of platforms basically.
Yeah.
So you have to wonder, how do you add movement abilities that feel a lot different and change the way you traverse in that way? I suppose anything flight related would change how you approach an area.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Being
does be
able
a
to,
lot of fight in first-person games, though.
3D games need more height. Stretch that axis. I suppose if you had something that both covered height and distance, you could do a gliding mechanic. And that's something that you do see in games on occasion. A lot of 3D games just don't utilize verticality all that much, so it's hard to think of examples.
So I was actually there was a Reddit thread where the Supraland was like talking to people, and I mentioned that I felt like Supraland didn't like make a lot of use of verticality, and he said that if you like when they tried to do that, it made the levels too confusing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, confusing to navigate, but probably be confusing just to build a weird three-dimensional map and have it all fit together well. It's, it increases the complexity of the space that you have to imagine. This game does seem overly flat though. I mean, so far you've been in a series of fields that have a couple random things in them. And sometimes you'll climb that random thing, but you're not changing your elevation. very meaningful ways.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, if you want to have something outside like this, how do you do that?
Well, it's like the thing that I've always been saying is like, if you can see the sky, you're probably not in a very good Metroidvania area because it's pretty necessarily flat.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. How many 3D games do you play that are entirely just like in tunnels?
Metroid. Almost entirely in.
3D games, like Metroid Prime has plenty of outdoor areas. You're still in
Battlespire.
corridors though.
Because Battlespire was designed to be a dungeon crawler. Because they took
I
out
see.
the best of, because to them, and I do agree, the best part about Daggerfall was the dungeons. So they decided to make, hey, we'll just make a game with just the dungeons. And that was terrible. It was actual trash.
That's unfortunate.
But you never want to see the sky.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Souls games, FromSoft games generally leverage verticality, I'd say. More so than most games. There's plenty of sky seeing and open areas, especially in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Well, they usually have like the open sky areas, and then there's the dungeons, and they're two separate things.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of, I guess it's a somewhat late game area in Elden Ring, so maybe it's a spoiler, but there's a very open area that, it has large structures and they connect to each other in various ways, and sometimes you need to figure out how to climb something in order to get somewhere else. And it's, you know, I guess it's an interesting area. You've got, of course, Dark Souls likes having the areas where you must descend carefully without dying, falling to your doom.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1, I actually really like the tree area in Dark Souls 1. I know people, I think people don't like it generally. So, you go there for the Chloranthy ring and you fall to your death. And it's an optional area, and it's annoying to get back out of.
Oh, I
But
think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I mean, it's really interesting when you think about it. It's a biome that's a large vertical shaft. I mean, how often do you see that in video games?
In 3D games, not very often, but you see it pretty often in 2D games.
I mean, do you have biomes where the whole purpose of the entire area that takes several minutes to run through is just getting to the top or bottom of a shaft? And that also probably be more boring, but harder to do in that certain way in 2D. Because you'd either just need a straight shaft down, or you'd want to, in order to make it more interesting to navigate, you'd have generally going down, but you're moving between rooms. Then at that point, you don't feel like you can just fall at any moment because you're going left or right between rooms. I do think it's interesting to consider. Then in Elden Ring, you've got, there's one particular tower where descending it is your goal, and that's actually horrifying to navigate.
In Elden Ring?
Yeah,
Which tower?
it's in Caelid.
Is that after a certain horse boy?
No, you just find it. Just the tower, it's there.
I don't know if I ever got there.
Going down it is very. You're kind of just parkouring between structures that don't look like you should be able to parkour on them. Because, you know, it doesn't really feel like the tower is designed for you to be parkouring down it, even though it is. There's a couple other areas in Elden Ring as well where you're going down an area that doesn't feel like it was meant for you to be there. And it's kind of stressful because you're making just weird jumps onto little support structures,
Mm-hmm.
and you still kind of feel like you're just gonna slide off of them because you're not sure if it's actually, like, you know it's going to be a platform, but it seems like the kind of thing that in a different game you would touch and just there wouldn't be a collision for it. No, I can't think of what what areas had lots of verticality in Dark Souls 2. I know you had to climb up a bit of the earthen, whatever it was area. I forget what that was called exactly. Earthen Peaks, maybe? No. Yeah, it is the Earthen. There's the Harvest Valley, and then there's also the Earthen Peak. So you go through the Foggy Valley, and you eventually climb. You climb a tower of sorts, and you end up in the Earthen Peak. And then that leads to the volcanic area. I didn't finish all of the DLCs in Dark Souls 2. I remember one of them did have a bit of verticality, I believe, and it was set in the tower. The one with the Fume Knight.
Okay. I never played Dark Souls 2.
Oh, it's Cauldrath.
Yeah, but it's been a long time.
Let's see, Dark Souls 3, what verticality did that game have? I've blocked it on my memory, so I don't remember.
There was some, I would say, in the cathedral. Or in the castle, or
Oh,
whatever
it's
the fuck it
true.
was. I do remember there being some in there.
Outside, though, you didn't really leverage it that much, and once you were inside, it was more of, there's a path you can take in the rafters. If you fall off that path, you will die, but otherwise you're... Like, were you doing many drops down in that area?
In what area?
In the cathedral, like, were
Uh,
you leveraging your height to drop down to places?
Not that I remember. I do remember doing that in the catacombs a bit in Bloodborne, but I never played much Bloodborne.
Oh, actually, maybe in a more unintended way, but you can do that in the, I remember there are some areas where you can drop down as, like, kind of shortcuts. Also skip part of the level in, yeah, Dark Souls 3 Catacomb. I mean, none of them have you, none of them are as vertical as Dark Souls 1, I don't think. Oh, it is about time for us to
It
stop
is.
talking.
Oh.
Cauldrath is just so enthralled in Supraland that he's lost all sense of time.
Can't let the puzzles win.
What are your closing thoughts on this game?
Pretty much the same as before. It feels like there's just like, it feels like kind of a collectathon. in certain areas, and then yeah, I'm not a big fan of collectathons, so the fact that it feels like that is probably why I didn't really like the game. But it does do a lot of good stuff with like the actual power-ups that it has. So if that's what you're interested in with the game and you don't mind the like collectathon busy work, then I would highly recommend it.
Interesting. Would you call it a 3D Metroidvania?
I would call it a 3D Zelda-like,
I see.
just because of the way the structure is. It's very dungeony. And it's like you get to an area, you have to like clear it out mostly, and then go on to the next
Yeah.
one.
Oh shit, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Gumbo Jesus.
Mr. Miracle.
Oh no, they use that
no,
face of Jesus. Oh no. Damn. Oh, it just sticks in the ground. Okay.
Yep. I guess I can just plant flowers anywhere.
Nice. Alright, it is 10:31, so have a nice night, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.